reports of strange creatures in the area.
Witnesses say they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
Welcome, beloved fofers, doubters, naysayers, non-believers, and skeptics. Welcome to Paranormal Fable or Fact. I am Victor Trevino, joined by my co-host and beautiful wife, Timmy.
We are humble guides to tales of alleged hoaxes, unbelievable stories, and the overall strange.
Beautiful. If you want to be on the show, send us an email at pfableorfact@proton.me. Our Facebook, YouTube, the rules, and the rules for debunkers are in the show notes. Like, give us a good review, hit that notification bell, and for the love of all that's holy, subscribe.
Also, we are no longer on podcast platforms. We are only on YouTube.
Yeah, the field is just flooded. There's so many podcasts. We decided just become YouTubers, basically.
Yep.
Cool. Moving on. So, the gist of the show, baby, the basis is basically to take a look at wolves.
Wolves? Like the animal wolves?
Yeah. Not werewolves. Not dogmen. Not hounds from hell. Just regular old wolves. And you may ask yourself why.
Yeah, I am.
Well, because since we were young, baby, I've been under the impression that when early colonists and settlers came to the United States, the reason they hunted wolves to extinction, basically, or drove them basically out of Native America, was because they were killing the livestock, right?
Right.
That was their sustenance. They were killing their calves, their goats, their sheep, their chickens, and that was their livelihood and their source of sustenance.
Right.
So these horrible gun-toting Americans just killed all the innocent wolves for no reason. But baby, I found out that that's just a flat-out lie.
That's interesting.
Wolves were, back then, and still are, threats to humans. They're a big threat to humans.
Well, they're predators.
Right. So we have a disclaimer. Although we're going to sound like we're bashing on wolves, we're going to sound like we're saying all kinds of negative things, we're just telling the truth. So if you are a wolf lover, we are too. We are not encouraging or condoning any hunting or killing of these beautiful animals. We just want to make people aware of the danger that even we weren't aware of, and the fact that we're being lied to. It's not just Western culture either, baby. It's worldwide.
It's they.
Yeah.
They are worldwide.
Right. It seems the worldwide governments are involved in this lie, or at least supportive of it. So let's move on to the red flags. There's no inarguable truths. We're just talking about it, basically.
Okay.
Now, there are a lot of people that admire and love wolves. They are the epitome of nature itself. We love them too.
Yeah, they're beautiful animals.
Yeah, so just like the disclaimer said, we're not saying, oh, just go out there and start shooting them. In fact, they're protected, so you probably can't shoot them even if you wanted to. But I believe they're like the epitome of nature itself, right?
Yeah.
They're majestic, they're beautiful. So, moving on. There is an estimated population of between 200,000 and 250,000 wolves worldwide, which is a lot of W's. I want to talk about the show Mountain Man, baby. If you remember Tom Orr, who we said passed away, and we found out now that he didn't, so we have to apologize for the past show.
Yes, he's alive. Yay!
Yeah. We're watching an episode. He basically says, oh yeah, there's been like 20 people around Montana that were killed by wolves.
Yeah.
That year, and that was what 8 to 10 years ago he said this?
Yeah.
So then the show, Mountain Man, the producers,
Right.
the what's the guy's, the narrator.
Yeah, the narrator.
He basically says, yes, there's been 20 fatalities that involve wolves in Montana alone.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking to myself, oh wow. I was doing research for the show and found out that what they said on Mountain Man is complete contradiction of what we're being told. So moving on. In 1971, a Canadian biologist named Doug Clark investigated historical wolf attacks in Europe, and based on his own experience with relatively timid wolves of the Canadian wilderness, he concluded that all historical attacks were perpetrated by rabid animals, wolves that had contracted rabies. Right? And that healthy wolves posed no threat to people whatsoever. Well, he got bashed. He just completely got torn apart because his colleagues, other scientists, other biologists, and historians pointed out people had survived wolf attacks prior to rabies vaccinations being available. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if you're attacked by a wolf, how could you survive?
Right.
If it's rabid.
Right.
You would have died.
Right.
100%.
Right. Especially back in the day when there were people dying of rabies.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just die. I mean, I think it's like 100% fatality back in the day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because they didn't have shots. They didn't have an yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that word. Take that one out.
They didn't have vaccinations.
There you go.
So his whole point was just completely destroyed. But it didn't end there. It kept going. By the late 1970s, this pro-wolf lobby had begun efforts to change public attitudes towards wolves with the phrase, quote, "There has never been a documented case of a healthy wild wolf attacking a human in North America," unquote. This became a slogan for these people seeking to create a more positive image for the wolf. So I read that statement and I'm like, that's what I've heard, that there's never been anybody that's ever been killed by wolves in North America, right?
Yeah, but that's kind of naive, because then you're just like telling people, oh, there's a wolf puppy, go up and touch it.
Yeah, go pet him.
Yeah, go pet it.
Nothing to fear. Wolves aren't dangerous.
It's a wild animal.
Yeah,
it's a predator.
It's irresponsible. It's
It's
dangerous.
very irresponsible to tell people that, especially if you're gonna tell city folk that.
Right. And that's what we're doing the show, making people aware.
There you go.
Now, here's one point that I wanted. This is just my own research, baby, and I found this, and I thought that I was stunned by it. Native American and First Nations people acknowledged that wolves killed their people all the time. In fact, the woodland tribes that lived away from the plains and lived further from the coast, deep into the forest, particularly feared wolves because they would encounter them at close quarters.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, you come around a tree and there's a pack of wolves.
Yeah.
So my point is, if this pro-wolf lobby is saying that, well, there's never been a human attack in North America, are they saying that Native American and First Nations people don't count as humans?
Oh, that's terrible if they are.
Oh, that's basically what they're saying.
That's not good.
So let's move on.
Okay.
The argument that this pro-wolf lobby is making is statistically North American wolves are not as aggressive toward people as their Asian and European counterparts, even though they're the same species. Now, at first I thought this was just idiocy, but I think that what happened when the first settlers from Europe arrived here, the Germans, the Irish, the British, the French, they had already been dealing with wolves in Europe.
Oh, yeah, so they already knew how to deal with them.
So when they got here, right, they knew how dangerous they were, and that's why they wiped them out. It wasn't about livestock and all that crap that they're feeding us. It's because they knew, hey, we couldn't kill them all over there, but maybe we can kill them all here.
Yeah.
Whatever, they knew how to deal with them, basically.
Right.
Also, there were no accurate records kept back then, so we have no idea how many people were lost to wolves when that first colonization was happening.
Yeah, I don't even think I don't know how long ago death certificates go, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But just during our cursory research, baby, we found over 40 cases. So, what are they talking about?
Right.
Also, who knows how many Native Americans and First Nations people were killed by wolves? So that quote that the pro-wolf lobby is saying is basically a lie.
Right.
Or at best misleading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which again is irresponsible. So moving on. There are no records of any wolf attacks in Mexico. That's the official statement. But to me, again, I started questioning that. I'm like, that has to be bogus, because there are 23 million people divided into 68 distinct indigenous groups in Mexico, basically natives
Wow.
of indigenous people.
Yeah.
Each with their own language and cultural practices in Mexico. 68 distinct groups. So before Mexico was modernized, none of these people were ever killed and attacked or anything? It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
I think it's that whole movement, trying to improve the image of wolves to people.
Right.
So moving on, there are literally thousands, and this is just my own point, baby, that I was just thinking of, and it just popped in my head. There are literally thousands of reports of people going missing in the wild. They're never seen again. Their remains are never found. Regardless of how you feel about wolves, regardless of how you admire them, can you honestly make an argument with any confidence that none of those disappearances could be attributed to wolves?
No, you can't.
I mean, think about how many animal attacks there are,
Yeah.
that are attributed to bear and mountain lion. You never think, well, what if a wolf killed them or ate them?
Yeah, I would have never thought that.
That's exactly right, because we're told wolves aren't harmful to people.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't ever attribute it.
Yeah.
It couldn't be wolves because they don't hurt people.
Right.
So how many of those deaths, or the people that are never found, can you honestly make the argument
You can't.
that none of them are attributed to wolves?
Yeah.
So moving on, this is in the 21st century, baby. On November 8th, 2005, a young man was killed by wolves that had been habituated to people in Points North Landing, Saskatchewan, Canada. And remember, I want you to remember that term, habituated.
Okay.
Because it's one of the arguments that the pro-wolf lobby is making.
Okay.
Then on March 8th, 2010, a young woman was killed while jogging near Chignik, Alaska.
Oh, that's terrible.
Terrible. Here she is just
Yeah,
jogging
just
and
taking a jog, trying to stay fit.
dragged off into the woods and killed and eaten.
Crazy.
So, moving on. The Wolf of Jaisinj was a 3-month period between December 30th, 1820 and March 27th, 1821. This wolf attacked 31 people, which resulted in a total of 12 fatalities, most of whom were partially consumed by the wolf.
Wow.
The victims were mostly children, and that is so heartbreaking, baby, when you think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how much you look at wolves, with admiration and love, if you found out that your child was dragged away and eaten by these wolves, your opinion of them might change, is all I'm saying.
Definitely.
Also, I didn't realize that pets being killed by wolves they're not reported in the media.
Right.
Nobody talks about it. So, and I know a lot of people look at their pets, like their dogs and their cats, as part of the family. Mm-hmm. And nobody talks about how these pets are being dragged off and killed and eaten by wolves.
Yeah.
All over the country, baby, all over Canada.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder why.
Right.
Well, of course, we don't wonder why, because we know. We know that there's this movement,
Right.
But anyway, now, the wolf was killed on March 27th, 1821. Historical accounts indicate that before it became a man-eater, the wolf was captured as a pup in 1817 and kept in captivity for several years before it escaped. In captivity, it is theorized that wolves tend to lose their natural shyness of humans and thus attack more frequently after the escape from captivity. Now, that didn't make any sense to me, baby. Because if you feed and keep a wolf as a pet, why would it look at you as prey? Do you see what I'm saying?
I don't know, unless you abused it or something. I don't know.
Oh, well, that's a good point. Maybe it was abused. But then it would just become mean.
Right.
You know what I mean? It might snap at people, it might growl at people.
Right.
Or it might just completely shy away from people.
Actually, yeah, you would think it would just shy away from people.
Right.
Stay away from people.
Why would it being in captivity and being fed and petted and, by people, or even abused by people, why would that make it look at humans as prey?
Yeah, I don't know.
That it's going to stalk you, hunt you, kill you, and eat you just because it's habituated. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Does that make sense to you?
No.
I just wanted to make that point. So moving on, the wolves of Turku were a trio of man-eating wolves which in 1880 and 1881 killed 22 children in Turku, Finland. The average age of these victims were just 6 years old, baby.
Wow.
That's awful. After the wolves were killed, one was sent to the hunting museum in Rimhemaki, and the other to St. Olaf's School, where they can still be seen today. The third wolf was lost to history. In recent times, some Finnish conservationists have debated the accuracy of these depicted events. Of course, this is the movement, this is the pro-lobby.
Right.
It has been argued that the wolves must have previously been captive animals, such as the wolf of Gysing was, although there's no evidence, absolutely no evidence of this. He also stated that the female had poor teeth, which I don't understand why that's an argument. But furthermore, another guy in this pro-wolf lobby was the leading wolf specialist of the IUCN, and he stated that the historical information in this story of the wolves of Turku was very unreliable. Mm-hmm. And he told the newspaper Damari on 27th October 2005 that one of the wolves was really a wolf-dog hybrid, which I struggled with that because I'm like, what's his point? What is he saying? Domestic dogs are more aggressive than wolves?
Yeah, more violent? That doesn't make sense.
Is that actually what he's trying to say?
Yeah, or maybe because the hybrid of mixing two, I don't know.
That, you should fear your pet more than you should wolves. Wolves are that harmless. It's just idiotic.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. So here comes this guy. Last name Grankvist. He writes an article tearing this whole pro-lobby for wolves apart. He said that they confirmed the wolves had been positively identified after their remains had been examined. So I guess they took DNA evidence from them or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
100% wolves, no dog hybrid, no damaged teeth, none of that. All of that nonsense that they were trying to argue was all BS.
The damaged teeth makes me think of the Ghost in the Darkness.
Yeah, the Ghost of the Darkness.
Yeah.
Oh, his teeth was hurt, so that's why he was hunting humans.
Because the teeth.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I know.
Moving on. I found this very interesting. The country with the most extensive historical records on wolf attacks is France.
Oh, that is interesting.
They have nearly 10,000 fatal attacks from the year 1200 to 1920.
Wow.
That's just what is documented, baby. It could be a lot more.
Right.
And that's fatalities. That means the people were actually killed and or eaten by wolves. Not just wolf attacks. Who knows how many of those if there's 10,000. Now you might say, well, the year 1200 to 1920, that's like 700 years. What are you talking about? I'm just saying, remember, wolves are supposed to be timid. Mm-hmm. Nothing to fear, folks. 10,000 people is a lot of people to be killed. Killed. Not attacked, killed.
Yeah.
Moving on. A study by the Norwegian Institute of Nature Research showed that there were 1,211 fatal attacks on humans between 1950 and 2002. The updated edition of the same study revealed 498 attacks on humans worldwide. 14 of these were attributed to rabies for the years 2002 to 2020, with 25 being fatal. Wow. So they're saying for almost 60 years, or a little over 50 years, there's only 211 fatal attacks. And in more modern times, between 2002 and 2020, there's only been 25, right?
Yeah.
Well, in Russia, any mention of wolf attacks were not allowed to the public by the Soviet government back in the day. You know, most of those reports were completely censored. But just from 2018 to 2020, baby, Russia reported that 712 wolf attacks were reported. No mention of how many of those were fatal. So, if this Norwegian Institute of Nature Research says that there was only 498 attacks on humans worldwide, with 14 attributed to rabies, and only 25 of them were being fatal from 2002 to 2020, how, in just 3 years from 2018 to 2020 in Russia, were there 712 wolf attacks reported?
Yeah, why so much censorship?
The point is, that research was completely wrong, baby. Yeah. Because if they're saying there was only 498 worldwide, why is just in Russia 712?
Right. In
just 3 years.
Yeah.
Because remember, this is the 498 research was between 2002 and 2020.
Yeah, 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
And here in Russia, from 2018 to 2020, 712?
712.
Doesn't make any sense.
No,
So
the numbers are not matching up.
So basically what I'm saying is this, to me, I don't have any evidence of this besides what my cursory research, but that study of the Norwegian Institute of Natural Research is just completely wrong.
Yeah.
Or the numbers are being skewed to make it seem like it's much less of a problem.
Could be.
Again, that pro-wolf lobby, you know?
It's them or they.
It's they, with a capital T. I could find no reports from China. Even though there are wolves in China, no report. I don't know, maybe the government, I don't know if it's the pro-wolf lobby, I don't know. But I couldn't find any wolf attacks from China. Now, the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh has a history of wolf attacks. A lone wolf killed 42 children
Wow.
in 3 separate districts. 13 wolves were killed in response to the fatal attacks. This occurred in 1996, baby.
Wow.
This isn't 1700.
No.
This isn't 1800. This is 1996.
Wow.
You know, just under 30 years ago.
Yeah.
42 children, baby. Now, I don't think it was a lone wolf, even though that's what the story is, because that's a lot of victims, baby, and there were children. Now, you might turn up your nose at the idea that 13 wolves were killed in response, but these are your kids, man.
Right.
I mean, how else do you expect them to react? The government of Uttar Pradesh launched Operation Bidaya to capture 6 wolves that had killed at least 10 people, with more than 30 people being injured in these same attacks, despite drones, nets, and cages being set up to dissuade the attacks. Now, I looked into that. Why aren't you just killing them? Well, they're an endangered species. The Indian wolf is an endangered species. Now, but they killed 10 people, baby.
Yeah.
5 of the wolves suspected to be behind the attacks were captured on September of 2024.
Oh.
This was just last year.
Last year, yeah.
Again, not the 1800s, not as some of the younger people, the 1900s. This was just last year.
Yeah, just last year.
10 people were killed in India by wolves.
That's crazy.
And this is just to make people aware, baby. Because if 10 people are being killed in India, and the argument is, oh, they were poor, they didn't have doors. But just like Tom Moore said in Mountain Men, baby, and I think it was Rich, too, in Mountain Men.
Yeah.
They said the reason wolves are getting more aggressive and coming onto farmlands and coming onto livestock is because they haven't been shot at. Why? Because they're protected.
Yeah.
They don't fear people
They
anymore.
don't fear people, right.
So even if you're not going to kill them, I think that you should be able to at least scare them off,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And they do discouragement tactics and stuff that they have that are non-lethal to wolves, which is fine. I don't have a
But I
problem
mean,
with that.
like a ranch or a farm, it's like a 7-Eleven to a wolf. You know, just get in and get out.
If you can't be shot at,
Yeah,
if you can't be
yeah.
scared away, yeah.
Right.
But I know they light fires and they have drones and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff that they try to keep the wolves away. Or they'll capture them in cages and then relocate them and stuff like that.
relocate 'em.
Because they're pack,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
pack animals. So
Yeah.
predator culling has been across the board. I remember people were criticizing President Trump because he was, he signed a paper for some wolves to be killed off because there's too many predators, right? Again, politics, all this stuff. I don't care. I don't care how you feel about Trump. I don't care any of that. Point is, Obama did the same thing. Biden did the same thing. Bush did the same thing. They all presidents have to deal with it. Because if they allow the predators to get over, too many numbers, there won't be any prey out there.
Right.
So if they kill off all the wild elk and all the deer and all the wild hogs, what are these predators going to eat?
They're going to come for people.
They're going to come and engage people. Mm-hmm. So you have to have a controlled predator culling system to keep the numbers down so that the prey are balanced and that the wolves aren't starving.
Right. That's like with the hunters. The hunters, they don't go after sometimes, like, here we go back to Mountain Men.
Mm-hmm.
Marty was saying, I don't go after the females because I need the females,
to be able to breed.
Breed.
Right. So predator culling there's no easy answers, baby, to what we can do to control wolves and make sure that they're not a danger to people. Predator culling could be a useful tool in certain situations, and it's important to carefully consider the potential consequences and explore alternative solutions before resorting to lethal methods. I agree with that. I don't think we should be out there. Again, we're not condoning just going out there with machine guns and mowing them all down. It's not what we're saying. We're just saying be aware
that they're dangerous.
And if you're going out in the mountains where you know wolves are in the area, don't
go pet one.
Right. So the alternative side of that, baby, I looked it up. Prey abundance. This can lead to overgrazing and increased interaction with human farming and livestock. Wild boar is an example of that.
Yeah.
Because there's no natural predators in some of these areas for the wild boar. So they have to go out there and kill these wild boar because they're spreading like wildfire. They're breeding and overpopulating areas.
Right.
And it causes all kinds of problems with humans. So that's another reason I agree with reintroducing natural predators and stuff to help keep those numbers down.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a two-edged sword. You know what I mean? You want to control the wolves, but you also want to control the prey.
Right.
You don't want prey running rampant because it also causes a problem with humans and livestock. So, in conclusion, baby, what do you think about the show? What do you think about this?
It's an interesting show. I mean, at the end of the day, look, wolves are beautiful creatures. They really are. But it is a wild animal. It is a predator. You just can't go up and pet the animal. You can't go up and pet a stranger's dog either. I mean, you just have to be smart. I mean, I think you're right. I think that when you think about going into the mountains, you think about mountain lions, bears. You don't think about the wolves.
You don't think about wolves, right?
Yeah. And then you kind of like me, I kind of downplay them like as in coyotes, unless they're in a pack. Then I get nervous. But you know what I mean? I get what you're saying. I get why you did this show.
Again, the reason I did it, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I don't want people to hate wolves. I just wanted to inform people about having proper respect for them and to make people aware that they're being lied to. Because they are, baby. I think just in this short little show that we're doing and just the cursory research I do, baby, I found mistakes. I found misleading statements. I found lies. People should be aware of that. You can go online right now and watch idiots approaching wild animals because they think they're domesticated or something.
Yes.
You've seen that. A lady getting out of her car trying to pet a lion at the petting, like it's a petting zoo. People approaching bison trying to do selfies and stuff. It's just...
Yes, the bison. Oh, goodness.
Your friends here at Paranormal Fable or Fact are issuing this as a public service announcement to prevent foolishness. We have your back, baby. So, I believe since the wolves were reintroduced by governments, it is entirely possible that attacks and fatalities on humans connected to wolves could be being suppressed or mislabeled. That's my conclusion.
Oh, okay. That's a good conclusion.
That's
I like that.
Basically what I believe, baby.
Yeah.
I think that because worldwide governments were actively reintroducing wolves under this pro-wolf lobby, I think that a lot of, particularly the fatalities, baby, are being covered up. I mean, if wolves aren't harmful to people, 10 people just got killed last year by wolves.
Yeah.
And the only reason we know about it is because the Indian government reported it.
Right.
712 people were attacked in Russia.
Right.
No mention of how many of those were fatalities.
Oh, and the other thing is the wolves, it sounds like a lot of the wolves are going after children.
Right.
That's a scary thing.
It's
terrifying.
Heart-wrenching when you think about it, baby. If your child being dragged off and eaten basically alive, that's just, oh.
Yeah. If you're at a park that's like got woods near it and all of a sudden you're just like playing with your kids and...
Right. You have to be aware.
Oh my gosh.
They are dangerous predators, and if you have wolves in the area, be aware, be safe, and don't think, I don't have to worry. They're no harm to me. They're timid. They're harmless. Not true. Not true. So, that pretty much does it, baby.
Alrighty then. Thank you guys for listening. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook.
To our first responders, our veterans, and our troops that are serving right now, God be with you, and God bless you and yours, and thank you for your service. Also, if you want to be on the Halloween show, it's filling up fast. Please email your stories. And if we get too many of them, we'll just do a two-parter.
Yay!
No problem. So, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.